Hi everybody, this is Joseph Sharon and I'm back again with another movie review. I just recently saw Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And boy, am I elated that I got a chance to see this. I even cried twice. And it goes without a shadow of a doubt that I'm hoping that this one takes some kind of award of some sort, because the animation in this alone was so much fun to see. Very vibrant, very colorful, very intense in its action. I mean, it throws literally. I mean, you're not given a chance to breathe in some scenes with Puss, but given everything that Puss represents, yeah, this is just spectacular. And not only that, but the message that it sends to the audience is one that's really quite heartwarming. And there's a lot of overarching themes, but as far as antagonists are concerned, I really like Little Jack Horner because he's, well, Big Jack Horner. He takes on the whole trope of, well, since I was overlooked as not even, well, I was a nursery rhyme. He's a nursery rhyme. He's not even a fairy tale. Yeah, that kind of just downplaying him and making him feel like he's basically useless, even though he grew up in a good, stable family home. And I mean, that's interesting because he grew up in a very stable home with very loving parents and everything he could have ever wanted. But it goes to show you that even if you have that kind of upbringing, sometimes you can turn out to be a villain. Because he wanted the attention for himself. He wanted to have everything good come to him and everybody else have nothing. So yeah, and I like that aspect of his arc. However, I think that the best antagonist I have ever seen, especially in his sleekness and his design and his intimidation factor, and just how menacing this antagonist is, just, bar none, Death. Need I say more? I mean, Death is absolutely brilliant, and calling him a Lobo because he's, the wolf. And that makes so much sense because who doesn't fear wolves? Yeah. And there's so many clever, creative things that they did, especially concerning him and making him unapologetically, direct in just how he is, just how he postured himself, his glowering, his just how fierce and eerie he was. And not only that, but he's just badass. I mean, you gotta respect that. If I'm like, ooh, you come for us all. I respect you, and I don't want to laugh at you. And yeah, interestingly, we learned quite a bit about Puss as well, and he's come off as arrogant and egotistical and conceited, and just very braggadocious. Well, that's a macho, the macho kind of thing. The whole that just plays into Hispanic culture, I think, because I thought, yeah, that's true. I mean, the machismo. And it is so common and especially for him, it makes sense. And I love the fact that they hearken to the whole, the Zorro motif. Instead of the Z, it's the P for Puss. And if you know anything, I'm a huge Zorro fan, have been forever. And of course, Antonio, he does such an unbelievable job as Be Still My Heart. But he played Zorro. So having that little meta callback just made me all swoony, and this made me so happy because I'm just such a huge fan. And just hearing him do the voice, I mean, I don't think anybody else could be Puss in Boots other than him. I mean, he's absolutely perfect. And I'm like, oh, Antonio Banderas. I'm like, I was thinking, oh, and then I thought, Zorro. Yeah, perfect. The directors, they know their stuff, and they're very intelligent, and they're just, it's just clever and, new and sparkling and different. But some of the overarching themes we've seen done before, and it's actually very touching. There are some moments I literally found myself crying, and I'm not going to be ashamed of that at all. But this movie is just so pretty to look at. It's just absolutely incredible, and it gives me hope for the future of DreamWorks. I'm hoping that they continue to use that kind of really intensely action type of style, very stylized animation that makes it more comic book like. As I love that. I mean, as a comic book reader, I just adore that, because I know a lot of content creators have said it was all inspired by Into the Spider-Verse, which, yeah, I can see that. It was exactly like Into the Spider-Verse, with just how well timed everything was, and just the sequence of events and action and hard hitting scenes of just this adrenaline rush. You are in it. You are hooked. You are not going to turn. If you turn, you're gonna miss something. And I gotta see this again, because it's just, there's so much detail. I mean, even in his fur, his clothes, and even with Kitty Softpaws and her luchador costume, which I loved, and I thought, yes, it's such a perfect costume for her. And voice casting, top of the heap, and without doubt, 2 thumbs way up, 5 stars hands down. No vetching, no nags, no nothing, no lags. There was nothing about this film that was imperfect. I mean, everything about this, as Goldilocks says, was just right. And that is actually a little bit of a spoiler, though, because it's a little bit of a running gag, but it's done in such a way that it works very well. And it's very funny, but also there are moments in which it's very tender. And it hits all the highs, all the lows, and in-betweens, and everything segues in such a smooth way, as I said before. And I'm glad I saw it, because as someone who loves animation, I just thought everything is absolutely glorious to look at. I mean, there were moments I was literally, my mouth dropped, literally dropped. And even with the opening sequence, I'm like, ooh, new logo. I like what you've done, DreamWorks. I see what you're doing. What, no Megamind? Oh, well, I'm not going to be salty about that. I like Megamind, but he should have been in the opening sequence as well. Not with some of your newer, more popular characters. You're doing a little bit of DC DCU and a little bit of MCU, which I think that's the going trend nowadays, but it works for DreamWorks. It really does. But I'm eager to see where this goes. I'm eager to see what they're gonna do with the reboot. And I mean, reboot, that's a dirty word nowadays, and I just but hold that thought. Wait for it. I have hope with the new animation. I really do. So let's just pray to God that the Shrekverse is, kept intact, and I will be outstanding. Because if they don't, then yeah, they're just gonna ruin their own franchise. But we've got Kung Fu Panda. They're working on 8, for heaven's sakes. We've seen 3 out of 8. That's a lot. And the thing with the Kung Fu Panda sequels is, I don't know how they're doing it, but every single solitary one has been better than the last, which is really a feat to do. And with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, people were thinking, I mean, it had a lot of competition. I mean, especially with Avatar coming out, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm going to at some point. Maybe not in theaters, but we'll see. It got done dirty, unfortunately, but it's killing it. It's like just a little bit behind Avatar, but come on, it's Cameron. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I think it deserves more notoriety. I think more people should see it. I think that it's one that deserves to be seen in cinematic format, just because of how absolutely freaking gorgeous it is. And I'm not kidding. This is coming from someone who's grown up on animation, and yeah, that's all I can possibly say about The Last Wish, and what a treat. I absolutely adored it. So until next time, go on and prosper. Ciao, Titty.